Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Before we get to the clip of me speaking to Pete the Pick Lafroscia, I just want to bring something to everybody's attention. I might not need to, but let me explain. Pete the Pick Lafroscia, as a member of the DeMeo crew, his exploits are well documented as far as being a car thief and as far as law enforcement trying to connect him to some acts which many of you, rightly so, may view as extremely unsavory. If you know the Roy DeMeo crew story well and you've researched it thoroughly, you know what I'm speaking of. So I want everybody to keep in mind how delicate of a situation it is when you speak to somebody like Pete the Pick Lafroscia. He might seem like he's skating around something, or there's reasons why he may not be able to speak on things. But as I mentioned, if you know the story and you know Pete's situation, then you know why he cannot speak on many things. So I want you guys to keep that in mind when listening to Pete speak and listening to clips such as this. I'm sure you know the reputation. I mean, you were with these guys. You were a friend. You called them your friends. You did a lot of work with them.
They still are.
But it's because nobody wants to talk about this, Pete. You're the only one out here that's willing to talk about your experience with these guys. Most of them back then, they're dead or they're in prison. Let's face it, I mean, more than likely, maybe never getting out. So you're the guy that's here to talk about it, Pete. And I thank you for that because, as I was saying a second ago, the reputation, Pete. I mean, you hear terms like serial killers. You hear terms like the scariest guys ever in the mob, all types of things like that. When you hear stuff like that, Pete, when you hear, let's just leave it to Roy, when you hear serial killer, we think of Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, all these fucking guys. When they attribute that label to Roy, in your honest opinion, Pete, does the label fit?
Well, I got to be honest with you. Now, I heard that first time in my life from Sammy the Bull. That's who I heard that from the first time in my life, that he was a serial killer, okay?
Okay.
Never heard a cop say that. I never heard it until Sammy said it. Now, I got to take that with a grain of salt because here's Sammy admitting to 19 fucking murders himself.
Right.
Admitting to getting
Yeah.
5 years, doing 90 days for each person he killed. 5 years.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that work? Now, what Roy did, so you got to remember something. Roy knew me as a different guy. He never expected me to ever do anything for materialistic gains, money, or anything. He never would call me and say, listen, the boss up there said his daughter got assaulted at a nightclub. He says, go take care of that. Nah.
Right.
But he knew one thing. If we were in trouble and something was going down between us, I'd be there. No matter what I had to do, I would do. Okay, as far as a lot of things they did, they kept me in a blind because.
Right.
Well, now, from what I've heard, yeah, that's probably what fit, according to what government says, guys like Sammy Bull says, they were feared. You got to remember, look at John Gotti. He was feared. He feared Roy,
Right. So, yeah, we'll get to that, Pete, because that seems to be a big debate, as far as Gotti and then being a little weary of Roy. That seems to be a big debate. You were alive then. You would know more than I. I have my own opinion on that. And I think if we don't get to that today, certainly in part two. I mean, I have plenty of evidence and things and documents that I would like to show you and talk to you about at one point to support the idea that, Gotti, also, Pete, I think there's a difference between being afraid, like, I'm so scared, and simply just not wanting to associate and just not wanting anything to do with it for whatever. You know what I mean by that, Pete?
Sure. Let me say something.
Just wanting to separate yourself.
Let me say something that came out of John's mouth or so, okay? John says, listen to me. I want nothing to do with that. Now, John used to come to our social club every couple of times, hang down. Before he became who he was, hang down, have dinner with us. And I don't know where this guy would just start like a meatball fight. You know what I mean? That's how John was with us, So there was no big, like, I'm scared of Roy fist fight. Here's the deal, though. John said, quote, if you kill one of them, you got to kill them all. That's maybe his fear, not fear of Roy personally. He knew that if he did one, he always knew this in his heart. He said, I know, if I hurt one of these, I got to get you all. So what, so was it a fear like, well, I can't box you, Roy, I'm going to get my ass kicked, or I can't shoot it out. He just felt that, why fuck with a crew? If you, a lot of guys, you can whack somebody in their crew, and that's the end of it. But he knew that crew there, the 7, Magnificent 7, you couldn't do that. You had to get them all. If you're going to get them all. Yeah. There was a time when they even thought about shooting a fucking Wars rocket into the Gemini with all that. That was something we heard, and that I don't believe it. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, see, that's how I looked at it, Pete, where it's like, it's not a matter of, I'm shitting in my pants, I'm scared because I'm just thinking about it. It's a matter of, I would rather not associate with anything or be a part of something like that, because like you said, you kill one, you got to kill them all. So you know what? Like many leaders, like many dictators, like many rulers have been taken down before. Sometimes it's better to go within the inside to maybe get something done. And if you don't want to talk about that, we don't have to. But I think you know where I'm going.
I'm gonna tell you something I heard on TV last night. Okay. That when Roy's ticket came up because somebody got busted in the auto ring, right? And he knew it was going to lead back to Roy and stuff like that. This is the big man himself, Paul. He called John in, personally called John in, and wanted to give him the deal. And he could see at that time, from what I understand, that John hemmed and hawed about it. And he didn't want to do it. And Paul seen that. I mean, he actually physically said it, and he says, okay, John. And and it's really amazing that he dismissed him from that. You know what I mean? Because really, when that guy up there tells you to do that, you do it. I don't give a shit what you say.
Yeah.
Then the job went to Frankie DeChico, and of course Frankie was close with Sammy, and he called Sammy up and he told him. And I don't know if you listened to the latest interviews where Sammy went with that, telling him.
Yeah, he spoke about it a little bit about the twins and all that stuff.
He told his side of the story. But that was how John felt about it. Okay. I mean, that's how it went down. He was called in and he passed on for some reason. And I like I said, it's very unusual when the top guy tells that guy to do that. But I understand from other guys that at that time, Paul Cena looked in his eye and said, okay, hey, let him go ahead. Don't worry about it. I got this. And that's how it went.
Yeah, because, Pete, the original source for that. So now you might know of that because you were involved in the life, but so the original source for the idea of Gotti's being weary or afraid of Roy now, originally that comes from Jerry Capisi, who said that he had obtained FBI transcripts of Gene Gotti talking about, don't get involved. Don't, basically saying, I don't know if the word is scared or whatever it is, but those guys are nuts. You kill one, you got to kill them. Kind of what you're saying, talking about stay the fuck away from it. Don't get involved in it.
Right. Why cause the problem? Why cause yourself that problem? Why, God forbid it don't work the way you want it to. What, you got to look over your shoulder the rest of your life? They didn't want that. They had too much going on,
Right. Yeah.
And like I said, he used to come down and hang out, bullshit with Roy, fucking out of nowhere, he would start like a meatball, spaghetti ball fight. It's crazy. He was like a little kid John when he wanted to be, you know what I mean? Yeah. He never had a fear of Roy one-on-one. You got that? You know what I'm saying? It was the whole fucking charisma of what might happen if that happened. Okay?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever looked into the FBI files, but there's confidential informants and there's people talking in there, people close to Gotti who are not named, saying that pretty much what you're saying. Whoever those informants are, I mean, we know who some of them are, but the one in particular, I can't quite pin down exactly which one this is, but very interesting. So